All right, class, in this lesson we're going to be taking a look at estimation, section 1.3. And here we're going to be learning about our different rules to round and make estimations. So our estimation rules that we start with is that if a number is less than 5, we round down. If it's 5 or more, we round up. So that can mean anything from 1.4, we round down to about 1. If it's 1.49, this is kind of interesting because now we kind of round the 4 to be a 5, and it kind of turns into 2. So here, this is kind of how our rounding rules work if you're remembering from your younger days. Now, what we're also going to be using is compatible numbers. So rounding kind of works this way. Compatible numbers are slightly different. Another way to make a quick estimate is to work with, instead of like taking 398 or 298 and dividing it by 14, you might divide an easier number like 300 by 15 to get 20. So it's just making a little bit easier estimates, whole numbers like 5s and 10s to make easy estimations. Okay, so we're not going to get into every little how to round every particular number, but we're going to be number chunking more or less to make quicker answers. For example, you're going to take a problem like this and it says add. Use either rounding or compatible numbers, and so it's kind of a quick estimation rather than actually doing the math here. So if I was to just use my, if I was to actually use rounding, I would make this 22 plus 38.9 or even 39. And round these, of course, I don't round, it's 191. And then this one would round to 43. So if I actually rounded, these are the numbers that I would add. And if I was using compatible numbers, I would probably just make this 20. I'd make this 40. I'd make this 190 or even 200. And then I would make this one 40. And so it's just kind of number chunking and seeing what answer you get. So depending on which way you're going to do it, you're going to get different actual answers and different estimates. So part of our good advice down here is that when you're doing your estimate is trying to estimate your estimate. So when I number chunk, notice if I made this 200 right here, and to have a really easy number, I would know that I'm definitely about 10 numbers too high because I chunked way up. So your job is to take a look at these, round them, and then just add. And then let me just go ahead and quick sum these. So now when I did my number chunking, I ended up with 290 up top. And when I did a little bit closer estimating, I got 295. So either way, I mean, within 5, you have a pretty good approximation if you need to quick sum the numbers together. Number chunking is a little bit nicer because you can more likely do that in your head. And I didn't use the 200, I used the 190. If I used the 200, I would have been at 300, so it wouldn't have been that bad either way. So here we've got 34.6, and you're subtracting 15.3. Notice the 6 and the 3 are right there. So I mean, you could stack them and actually do the math. Or here, if I just made this 35 and make this 15, it's a much quicker problem, and I would just get my 20. So it's just a faster way to get a quick approximation when it's not necessary to be precise. So here I would just say 5 times 16, and that would get me pretty close to where I want to be. And so we'd be looking at 80 rather than the actual decimal. What the real number is. And so here we've got a man hiring 18 people to pick his crops from a field. He agrees to pay them each $3.50 for each unit they pick. So units are like a box or whatever it is they're picking. Estimate how much money they will be paid to the workers if each one picks 10 units. So we have a nice approximation already of 10 units. And then so we've got 18 people, and then each of them gets 10 units. And then each unit is $3.50 each. So this would be the actual multiplication of what's happening, and our job is to more estimate in our head of how much money he's going to owe. And so what I know is that $3.50, if I times it by 10, I'm going to get 35. So that's not even a bad multiplication. But just to make sure I have enough money in my pocket to pay these people, I would probably just go ahead and make this times 20. And the numbers are a little bit easier. But even then, I'm probably going to end up multiplying by hand because these are just a little bit bigger numbers. So it's just kind of up to you as to how you want to estimate it. I mean, the exact answer isn't wrong either. So if you actually have a calculator sitting there, you can use a calculator. And so the actual answer was 635. And if I use my estimation, I'm at 700. So either way, I'm probably going to end up going back here anyway. But I don't know. I'm torn when it comes to estimation because I like the exact answer anyway. But it is nice to be able to quick chunk so that you can do the numbers the math quickly in your head. So here, estimation, this is something that we do need to do more frequently, is figure out a quick estimation of a percentage, especially tipping. When you're going out to restaurants, it's a good idea to just have a quick idea of how much you want to throw down as a tip. For example, if I want to tip 20% and I've got a bill of $23.95, what I'm going to do is realize that 20% is a fifth of something because 20 goes into 100 5 times. So that's the most important detail to know, is that 20 goes into 100 5 times. So this is 1/5. So a quick fifth of a number would be easy. So here I would approximate that to be 25. So a fifth of 25 is 5. So I would be approximating a $5 tip. 15 is not quite as easy, but it's a little bit less than a fifth. So if I say, well, what's a fifth of 32? Well, let's just round it down to 30. That way it's not quite the whole 32. And then take a fifth of that, then I'm probably a little bit more than 15%, but that's okay. Divided by 5, and I get 6. So I'm looking at about $6 tip as a quick 15% tip. I, first of all, brought this down to 30, and then divided by 5 instead of a little less than 5. So here I've got 18%. Well, that's also really close to 20. Of 123, I'm going to make that a 125, and then just divide that by 5, and I get $25. So the 20% rule gets all these numbers really close. If I figure out what 20% is of something, it makes my other estimations very nice.